Hey my friends, it's Bill McDonald, the Writing Doctor here, and today I'm going to show you how to turn some simple toys that you can get at Dollar Tree into some tools that you can use to teach the process of writing expository. There's the toys that I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to have a little bit of guidance from my binder and my writing folders, but first of all I want to start with the scoring guide that's pretty much the same for 4th, 7th, and 9th grade when it comes to expository. First of all, let's talk about the organization. There has to be some sort of flow in the essay that progresses in terms of what they're asking in rubrics 1 through 3 that look like an expository piece. So I'm just using 2 letters in the alphabet, W and E, to kind of show you the process of how an essay should be organized. I basically took this and I simplified it into several words. The wow attention getter that you would tell your kids, the hook. The what is the central idea, controlling idea, or thesis? Why did you choose that? What examples can you give? Because you're going to have to explain them, and in order to have voice you have to explode them, and the paper does have to have an ending, and then of course at the end you got to do the editing using cups. So let's talk about the wow first. At Dollar Tree you can buy these little hats. If the head is going to be the idea statement, the controlling idea, central idea, thesis, then your hair or your hat or anything that you put above your head could be the hook. Since we work from top to bottom on the essay, we can think of a person as an essay, and so they sell this for $1 at the Dollar Tree. There's a reward you could give for the best hook. I saw these also celebrating 4th of July, another idea for the best hook, and they actually have pirate hats that you can buy for $1 at the Dollar Tree for those kids who have great hooks. And the cool thing about pirates is that many of them only have one eye, which means it fits right in with the concept of having one idea. Let me go down to the next section. Development of ideas. The 4th and the 5th bullets talk about the importance of explaining for development and exploding for voice. So let's take a look at some activities, some things that I bought at Dollar Tree for that. So if you explain, then they have these little plane whistles that you can blow on, and you would give those, of course, to elementary kids who do a good job of explaining. Okay? Since your voice is what I call the exploding part, they sell these little poppers here for 2 for $1 at the Dollar Tree, and for the kids who take the time to explode their ideas, they're going to have voice in their paper. Okay? And I want you to notice something, because some people get confused with voice, and I want to make sure you see a couple of important things. For voice, the essay is thoughtfully engaging. The student can choose his or her unique experiences, in other words, personal experiences, their view of the world as a basis for writing. In other words, how do I see this idea in terms of my own personal toes? There's a saying that says, don't judge a person until you've walked a mile in his shoes. Well, inside his shoes are his toes, which are his voice. And so if you have noticed, for those of you that bought the star writing folders, it has the acronym TOES in English and in Spanish. And that's the voice, the spice, the flavor. So a couple of things that you can do. I went ahead and purchased this little flower that you can stick into the ground, but I wanted to use it for the classroom, and so there's toes there. You see that it has thoughts, opinions, emotions, senses, something you might say. FL is figurative language, and upside down there is little truisms, little quotes and sayings. So the spice is all of those things that you can do. And to make sure that you can test that, there's one of the pages, this is page 437 in the binder for those of you that have it. There's a way to check the quality and the quantity of your ideas using Mr. Potato Head. And so as you see here, even though these are just paper, you could buy a real potato head. Of course, they don't sell those at the Dollar Tree, but if you bought a potato head, you could place poker chips inside the opening of his back that many of you are aware of, because if you have thoughts, they're inside of you about the topic. If you have opinions, which could be the blue poker chip, they're inside of you. Your emotions are inside, whether you tell or show your emotions. Using higher vocabulary. So they sell gold coins at Dollar Tree. They also have these little winner medals. If you want to reward kids, whoever uses the best vocabulary on their essay, they can get rewarded for that. If they use figurative language, that's another way to get voice in the paper, and appropriate quotes, truisms, and words of wisdom. So imagine if you had 4 or 5, 6 poker chips representing the voice. If you placed those inside Mr. Potato and shook him, he would make noise. And so I call that let your voice be heard. Alright, so keep that in mind. The next thing that I want to talk about is bullet 6. It says the writer's word choice is purposeful and precise. And so since you want your kids to raise their vocabulary, number one, you can give them vocabulary. And if you have a store, I used to have a store with poker chips, and each poker chip color could represent a certain type of voice, and your kids could use their poker chips at a store that you have once a week or once a month, depending on how much you like to spend on your kiddos. But here's an idea using some tickets that they sell at the Dollar Tree. Every time a student uses the higher vocabulary, then you can write the name of the student on the ticket, the vocabulary word that they use either with their mouth or with their pencil, and then you can place them in what I call a word bank. Like I mentioned, once a week or once a month, you can have some prizes where you pull out, and it kind of motivates the kids to want to be able to use higher vocabulary. All right, let's take a look at bullet number 7. It says sentences are purposeful, varied, and well controlled, but the one I want to talk about focusing on going from simple to complex. So here's an idea that you might try. They have dice that they sell at Walmart. You can get up to 10 dice or just 2. And the activity you can do with dice is called Let's Roll, where when you roll the dice, whatever number that you roll, the students have to make a sentence of that length responding to the topic. And it can either be verbal for the lower grades, or for the higher grades if you're just kind of introducing it, wanting to have a little fun, or they could do it in writing. So if you rolled, for example, a 10, then your students would have to think of a complete thought that has 10 words. And as they progress, because it does say simple to complex, you would also want compound sentences. You might want to add a third die in there if your kids can handle that. All right. You can also do that same concept with a deck of cards. With cards, I call it deal with it. All right. Excuse me. Finally, we have the students who are working on their conventions, which is basically what a lot of you know as the cups: capitalization, usage, punctuation, and spelling. And so they sell these really cool trophy cups at the Dollar Tree that you would want to give your kids who do a good job with their cups, not just on the editing and revising, but on their actual essays as well. So as you remember in the folder, there's a little trophy cup there, so be constantly reminding them that all the time when you're writing your essay and working on passages, that you have to be working on cups. And for mine, it's capitalization, usage, punctuation, sentences that are either run-on or fragment problems. They call that sentence boundary issues. And of course, becoming good spellers. All right. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today, but I'm hoping that you can see that just with a little bit of imagination and creativity, you can kind of bring some spice into your classrooms with some very cheap toys from the Dollar Tree, and be able to address the things that are needed in order to get a 4. We'll see you again soon, where I'll show you a couple other toys that you can use in addition to the ones that I showed you today. Thank you guys, and God bless.